Hi, my name's Bryce. Welcome back to VHS Player. We are playing The Legend of Dragoon and recording it all on VHS. Hey, it's been a bit since the last time, and I mean that kind of. Oh, hey, hello, all of the guards. We found them. Kind of doesn't matter. Like once this video goes live, then like the time between episodes kind of becomes non-existent. Anyway, in the meantime, between episodes, my VCR broke, and it broke in such a way that it no longer records game or input audio, basically. There, made it. Which means that I did actually record like a full episode, or at least attempt to record, and then realize that the audio had not recorded. So I have seen about the next not hour, it's only like a half hour forward of this game, and it's fine because we're not doing that right now. Basically, here's what happened. I went forward, I got to the next boss, the Dart or somebody was just like, hey, if we can put him to sleep, we'll be fine. I have no way of putting a monster to sleep, so that hint isn't exactly helpful. And then I got utterly destroyed. And I've had some kind of closer calls with bosses. So we're just going to go out and we're going to grind for a bit. So this is going to be a weird episode that's going to be a bunch of grinding. While I talk about my whole VCR setup stuff, because obviously... Oh, jeez. Jeez. Why are there two saves in Hell on a Prison? Okay, this is episode 13, so that means we are saving on the 3s. There we go. Yes? Yes. Alright. Don't mind me just getting confused. It's been a bit since I've done an actual recording. Anyway. So, well, hey. Here's... some stuff. And yeah. Basically, going forward, not quite an option because I'm going to get my butt kicked. So we're going to have to go grind, and I'm going to do that elsewhere, in short. Not in the prison, because I'd like to have access to, you know, an inn. I'm also curious... Wait, I can turn the map? Well, hot dog! I didn't know about that. I did know about this. I am a little curious about going back to, like, my starting town. I did not realize I could turn this map. That's kind of neat. Anyway. So yeah, there's no... Ultimately, the problem is, like, inside the prison, there's no, like, inn or rest spot or anything, so it's like, I want to be out here to have an option for recovery. These things are brightly colored and kind of cute. They're clearly going to be terribly dangerous, right? Oh good, plague rats. Okay, so that's the plan. It's just grinding. That's it. That's all we're doing, is we're just going to be going around and grinding, and I'm going to talk about this whole tech setup because it is tremendous nonsense. I have previously made jokes about being in a room with 2 VCRs. I am now in a room with 3 VCRs. And yes, we're going back to town to rest because Dart has no mana, and I remember that being a problem the entire time inside the prison. So we're going to get him some mana back. Well, hey. After we navigate this enormous town. Alright, so here's the whole deal of recording stuff on VHS currently, as it stands in my current situation. And there's a couple different points of, like, ultimately I need to get footage. I need to get footage out of a console onto a VHS, and then I need to digitize that footage off of the VHS onto my computer. And then at that point it does the whole editing and you know, eventually ends up on YouTube stuff. But like the key point is it needs to get onto my computer somehow. So I guess we'll start with that end. To get footage onto my computer, I have a VCR behind me that is something I picked up when my old digitizer died. Digitizer is basically a glorified VCR that hooks up directly to a computer with like USB or whatever, and then you just, you know, hit play and it has its own special stuff. This might be actually a decent place for leveling. Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. I have no idea where a good place to level is. Maybe just on the world map, because then I have access to, you know, all of the things. Anyway, so at some point a while back, back in the Wild Arms series, in the middle of that, my digitizer gave up the ghost. It was kind of a bummer, but for an episode or two, I tried just recording stuff on my old VCR, and then playing it back on my old VCR, but there was like no VHSification of the footage, or like less of it, so I was kind of dissatisfied with the way everything looked, and a lot of that comes down to how, like, basically moving a tape between one VCR recording it and another VCR playing it back. Basically, you know, all the inner workings are not going to be quite exactly the same, not going to be quite calibrated exactly the same, and you get like the neat weird bits. Oh good, it's this thing. Well, at least he didn't kill anybody I cared about this time. Okay, so maybe the world map is a really bad place to do fights, because there's just this random death bot out here in this path. That's delightful. Also, it takes forever to get back to the inn because it has to load in. Then we have to run 5 screens to the back of the town, and then we have to do the things. I'm getting salty again. Anyway, VHS things. So, anyway, I grabbed a new VCR, or rather a used VCR from a Goodwill at some point, and that is basically what I have in place of a digitizer, is that VCR is hooked up to my capture card, and that's not quite correct. That VCR is hooked up to an RCA, that's your red, yellow, white wires, an RCA to HDMI converter, and the HDMI goes into the input on my capture card, at which point it goes through, you know, magic USB stuff and hooks up to the computer for all of that fun things. We are going to go through every step of this process, by the way, because I find it one part horrifying, one part hilarious. a horse walks into a bar and wants to record game footage on VHS and put it on the internet. Anyway, so yeah, this VCR that's behind me, why don't I just pull that one out and start using it for recording instead of this new third VCR, which thankfully my friends had a VCR they weren't using and, you know, no longer needed around or wanted around. So, well, hey, VCR that I get to use for my nonsense. So why not use the VCR behind me? The thing is, that VCR is made... Just jump... I can jump down here, I guess. That's fine. That VCR in particular cannot use... Or rather, it has different lines of input. However, there is no way without the remote control to change the input channel. Okay, Shauna has full dragon points. I should do something with that. Also, I was rereading the manual, and apparently, like, the whole, like, you don't need to transform to dragon in order to raise your dragon level. It's just, like, a thing what goes up. But also, we haven't seen her transformation on camera. I've seen it a couple of times at this point. But, well, hey, it's classic, very much Sailor Moon. It's fine. And she gets healing magic. Oh boy. Rev and Wreck. Right, I forgot that she doesn't even get the Dragoon ring attack because, you know, she doesn't get additions for whatever reason. This game's weird. So anyway, VCR behind me, I can't actually record with it because I can't change the channel to a line input. There's like an RCA input in the front, again that's red, yellow, white wires, and an RCA input in the back. And I can't use either of those inputs without the remote control to change to those input channels. It is permanently stuck on like the coaxial like cable antenna in channel. Or, you know, there's like actually a channel select and it can choose like channel 2 through 125 or whatever. But it's not helpful is what it comes down to. It's really not helpful to be able to change those channels, and also I can't even change the channels because it doesn't want to even accept that there are channels. It just kind of gets dumb. Basically, I can't even change the channel properly because it wants to do a channel search and determine where channels actually are in order to do things first. So VCR behind me, really kind of a pain in the butt, but it works great for playback. So that's the half about getting footage from the tape onto the computer. Now we have the other side of things, and that's where it gets extremely stupid. So the simplest aspect of that is the console to the VCR. That is merely just using RCA output. Again, your red, yellow, white wires. And hooking that into the line in on a VCR. My old VCR only supported mono RCA. That's just the yellow and white wires. The red wire is your stereo sound. And without that, you just end up being forced to mono, which actually, now that I finally brought that up, let's go in here and change things, because this new VCR that I'm using actually supports stereo sound. or rather stereo, RCA cables. Does a VCR even record stereo sound? I don't remember. But you know what? We're doing it anyway because, well, hey, hopefully things sound better and not worse at this point. We'll find out in the edit. Wahoo. So new VCR, hooray! It has like a front RCA in line, which is great because that makes it really easy to swap out which console is hooked up currently. And every console that I have available for hooking up either has an RCA out option directly, or I can do an RCA to HDMI, other way around, an HDMI to RCA converter. I'm shaking my head at this point. I can do an RCA to HDMI converter in order to hook up some other consoles that only have HDMI out. And I'm curious, now that I have a VCR that supports stereo RCA, if I will be able to like hook up a PS4 or a PS5. Those have historically had issues. Like, I could get a visual signal out, I could not get an audio signal out, however, and I suspect that is probably due to the lack of a stereo RCA cable going into my old VCR. New VCR, though, does support stereo. Would it work? Could I hook up a PS5 to a VCR? Am I that dumb? Yes. We might try it. We'll see. Anyway. So this new VCR has RCA input. Great. Everything works. Actual recording works. It does have the issue that you can't actually change to... You can't change which line you're recording in from without the remote. Don't mind me, we're going to save now that we've changed options. You need to double check which save I'm doing. Yes. Okay. Right one. Alright, I also wanted to check abilities and things because I might as well work on leveling up other additions if they are available. Additions can't be used. Ooh, this game. Anyway, so new VCR does also have that problem of I can't change the line, like which line it's recording from without the remote. However, I do have the remote and it works and it isn't dead. So everything's great with this new VCR, right? Just hook this directly up to the TV and we're good to go. Except this is where it gets, it was already dumb. This is where it gets even more dumb. This new VCR does not have... which way to describe this? This new VCR only has RCA out. And that's where things become a problem. My TV, this old CRT TV I've had for 20 some odd years about, it also has that really dumb thing about not being able to change your input without the remote. I still have the remote, however, at some point in some move or something, at some point, the IR sensor broke, so I can no longer use any remotes. Not just like the remote that I have, but like no remotes whatsoever will do. So that's a bummer. it really does. I like when I move. It does bum me out a lot because like my old setup having like all sorts of things hooked up through like the front RCA and the back RCA and also through the coax cable. Like I was able to hook up a ton of things to this TV like all at once. And then just like change input and that would be enough and that would be great. Can't do that anymore because the IR and the whole IR sensor doesn't work, so I can't change the input line, and that means I can't change to either the front input, the front RCA input, or the back RCA input. I am stuck purely with the coaxial cable, like cable antenna input. New VCR, if you recall with me rambling quite so much, only has RCA out. Which means either A, I would need to get a converter of some sort, or B, I like basically the only option is somehow I need to change the signal from RCA out to coaxial, and there's only so many options for that. And either I could buy a converter thing for like 20 bucks, or as it turns out, I have an option just hanging out, not doing anything anymore. And that is my old VCR. Because my old VCR has RCA in, but again, only mono RCA. And it's been hooked up to my TV for all this time, so it clearly has RCA out. Or not RCA out, coaxial out. So it's hooked up to my TV through a coaxial cable, and several other cables are actually in between there, because originally when I was hooking things up, I wanted to try to hook up as many things at once without having to change them all. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So now basically everything just kind of gets swapped out based off of the RCA input on the VCR, whatever. So old VCR also has the problem that you can't change inputs fully without the remote. This time I do have the remote. This time the IR sensor works. The problem is the remote broke at some point, so I can't actually use the rear RCA input line. However, you can change to the front RCA input line with just like channel down to like channel 0 or whatever. That line exists as like something that you can access just by the controls on the VCR itself. But again, my old VCR only supports RCA mono. But the new VCR is the one doing the recording, so I can change things to stereo, and supposedly the recording is now in stereo. Maybe we'll find out in the edit. I'm curious to see how that happens and how everything changes. But I then need to run an RCA to RCA input or output to input, so out of the back of the new VCR into specifically the front of the old VCR in order to get a line in and have this turned into a coaxial cable channel to hook up to the back of my TV. I think that's the entire setup. As I mentioned, it is stupid. It is absolutely stupid. It is dumb. I don't recommend anybody else ever do any of this nonsense, because it's dumb. But I like the vibes, and I want to keep doing this for now, at least. So that's where we're at. We have an old broken TV that can't support any of the line outs other than coaxial. The coaxial cable goes to an old VCR that supports an RCA in, so that we can hook up the new VCR that only has RCA out to the VCR to hook it up to the TV, and then we hook up a game console to the new VCR to get everything going, and we can record on the new VCR, and the console eventually makes it to the TV. Hooray, hooray. Good gravy, this is all done. And then, once we've recorded onto a tape, we then go across the room to the other VCR, which we can't change any of the recording inputs on, and therefore it's not suitable for recording, but it's great for playback. And we can play back our recorded footage hooked up to, specifically, hooked up via an RCA cable to an RCA to HDMI converter to an HDMI cable to a capture card to a USB cable to my laptop in order to digitize the footage using OBS. At that point, I can edit it. I currently use DaVinci Resolve. It's pretty alright. I used to use HitFilm. I feel like there were some benefits of using HitFilm, but ultimately the performance of HitFilm was not great. And boy howdy, it sure is real nice being able to like scrub forward and backward in footage and not have to wait several seconds for everything to load. So anyway, that's that. That's the whole setup. That's everything. It is a process involving a broken CRT TV, a broken VCR, everything without remotes except for one VCR. Oh, it is gross and disgusting, and like, honestly, I might be able to, if I wanted to it someday, I may be able to repair my old digitizer if I wanted to. I kind of don't, because that software was crap. It was really not great stuff. It did at least have a timer, so that I could say, hey, record for this long. I don't get that with OBS. I had to write my own program for it. So I just have this like dumb program that hooks into some like undocumented Windows API to just click at a certain point on the screen after so long. And I can just set that timer value, and I can set that click location, and that's it. That's what it does. Special. Oh, we all get to be dragoons. The colors are rad. I also noticed that I didn't have to do anything with the attack ring. This is trippy as heck. You are annoying as heck, too. Hey, guess what? Fire is not physical. It's neat that there's a button to just go to, like, the Star Fox 64 warp zone. I'm guessing it's because everybody had like Dragon Boost stuff available. Anyway, that was neat. Oh, and I am out of all of the technical nonsense to talk about. Oh, right, I was talking about repairing things. So, old digitizer could potentially repair it. Like, the last thing I recorded with it was some Friday the 13th, like, lulzy stuff with Majora's Mask, watching the moonfall, and what a final performance it was from that machine. It recorded, and got just, like, the most VHS distortion possible on that set of footage as the moon grew closer and closer. It's really good stuff. It is one of my favorite things I've recorded, just because of how everything went with it. Of the like, everything getting super staticky and distorted as the moon is right about to fall was just, like, really, really cool. Unfortunately, after that, my digitizer was done, and it was no longer suitable for recording, or rather, digitizing footage with, because it was having way too much distortion and static and other such issues. It might just be that I need to, like, get in there and open the thing up and, like, clean the playback heads or something. I don't know. I don't actually know enough about the internals of these machines. I am not getting all that much experience here. I realize. It's just a convenient place where I'm not taking too much damage. But we are only gaining, like, a 100th of a level per fight, it looks like. Oof. And same with my old VCR. Like, I might just need to, like, pop it open and, like, clean off the recording heads. Or, like, look into one of those, like, VHS maintenance care cleaning kits that has, like, a weird VHS thing that you apply, like an isopropyl alcohol thing to, like, the weird playback film, and then it just, like, runs that through the system some number of times. I don't know how it works. But I'm never sure if those things are actually, like, legit, or if it's just, like, all a big scam for suckers like me who are afraid of opening up electronics, because you're always worried about breaking it further than it already is. These are things that I should look into, because, like, I do like my old VCR a lot, even though it only has RCA mono. And I like my old TV a lot, but also I should probably look at getting it replaced at some point with, I don't know, one that actually works, or comes with a, has a remote that will let me change, like, all the input lines and all that stuff. This could easily be a single VCR operation. Again, I kind of liked the vibes more with multiple VCRs in the process. 3 is kind of pushing it really far, like, way too much. I don't know. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at, and, like, I need to look into, like, better ways to find replacement stuff, because eBay, like, I was kind of peeking around, like, new old stock sort of things, of just, like, sealed boxes of old VCRs that just, like, for whatever reason never got opened, because, like, I feel like that would just be a good way to go, because then it would be, here's a quality piece of equipment that is, like, not, you know, hasn't been used for 20 plus years, basically, and hasn't moved several times, and hasn't been, like, crammed in, like, really horribly warm rooms because there's a PS3 inside. Oh, PS3s run so hot. Um, where's the way to jump across this dang gap?
Yes. Double flash.
Anyway, as it turns out, new old stock on eBay is like hundreds of dollars. And that is kind of a lot for a dumb hobby that doesn't need to be recorded on VHS and doesn't need to have a 3 VCR system. It doesn't even need to be hooked up to like an old CRT, asterisk, except for certain games where things might matter. Hang tight for spooky season, which unfortunately only has like, there's only 4 Fridays in October. Is the jump point, goodness. Is it up there? It's up there. Anyway, I think I'm finally done rambling about the whole tech stack and other technical challenges with this dumb hobby of mine. Like, all in all, just please appreciate the efforts that I go through to put things onto VHS for the vibes is pretty much all I've got. Like, I personally do like the vibes of it. I do really like that it gives me like that really visual nostalgia filter of like everything is not quite the right color and kind of fuzzy, and like that's just kind of what it's like looking back at these games from so long ago. Granted, I could potentially hook up like modern games. I do know that I can hook my Switch up to my VCR and I could play something on there. But I don't know. Like, it's kind of all of this is just like, hey, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think? I have too many VCRs in this room. And each one has a purpose in the circle of VHS play. Ugh. So like I said, a horse walks into a bar. Oh, come on. Where's the flippin' jump point? There we go. A horse walks into a bar and wants to record game footage onto a VHS and eventually put that onto YouTube. Here I thought maybe, just maybe, we would get out without one more combat. It's so tricky. I don't recognize what that symbol even means. Looks like some form of confusion. I really do not like the status effects in this game. This is actually something I ran into with the boss that we're going to be dealing with. stop. The boss that we went and saw a little bit ahead. Ultimately, it has some pretty mean, like, I think it does confusion. Or at least can do confusion across the entire party, or just maybe one person at a time, but still, there's only 3 party members, so So one character being confused can just really screw everything up, because suddenly they do like 82 damage to, you know, anyone, and that's just like a lot of damage, my dude. Guess I went out the other way. I could eventually get back around to that one town. It would be really nice if there were more places to like rest and also save. And also if there was like something like a Final Fantasy tent that I could use as a save point to recover, you know, all my junk. Because, heck. Alright, is it worth coming all the way out here for things? Oh, also, Lavitz has to be in our party right now, which annoys me, of course, because sure would be great if we could, like, get rid of him and bring in somebody else to get levels and junk.
Yes. Double lash.
I think there is, like, I don't know the full story on the, like, experience share system, because I definitely have seen, like, other characters level up, even though they're not in the party. But I don't know if they're getting, like, full experience or half experience or something like that. I am getting all of 4 more experience here. Good lord. Anyway, I'm going to need to do a lot more grinding in this game, and unfortunately it looks like I'm going to need to do a lot more grinding to, like, get any significant levels or something. Like, I don't know, man. I walked away from last episode, like, being kind of upset at this boss that I'm now avoiding, because 100%, it was just like, I got destroyed by that boss. Like, it was no contest whatsoever. I got wrecked. absolutely bodied. So, like, I don't know. I feel like I've run into some other bosses that have been, like, super close calls and just, like, real rough times. So I feel like I do need to just grind in this game to, like, get some levels on especially Shauna, because she got kicked out of the party for so long that she missed out on a lot of experience, and also I think she's just been on a lower level anyway because, you know, this game hates Shauna, and I am determined to like Shauna and use her in my party as much as I can, because screw you, game. I don't know, like... It just seems like this game is getting super, super rough, and I don't know how to fix that, aside from, like, doing a good old-fashioned JRPG grind time. But the only other idea I have is to, like, go back through this nest of dragon, go out the other way. So, just to the right of my little red Dorito, there's another yellow path, and that goes back up to, like, the volcano area. And there was a, like, a town up there that I walked by because it's like I was kind of just annoyed and sticking to the critical path, and I feel like I probably missed something real important, or several things real important. I could also go back to, like, my hometown. I could go, it looks like I could go further east, like through my hometown into whatever is behind Helena Prison for, like, areas. This is a very large map, by the way, I'm realizing, and that's real intimidating. So it's like, it looks like I could get back to some other places or, like, try some different routes, but Helena Prison right now is a big old death trap. There's some cool treasure in there that I'd really like to get, but I kind of want to, like, put that off until I can, you know, actually get in there. I don't know. This game is just beating me down a lot. Like, I'm having a hard time. That's really what it comes down to. It's just like, I'm just having a hard time with this game. I'm trying my best, man. But it is making things difficult. Maybe we just do a couple backtracking episodes, because that will, like, one part give me stuff to grind against and, you know, try to get some actual experience and level up Shauna maybe a little bit. And maybe she'll learn a sleep magic or something. Who knows? I don't know how I'm supposed to put enemies to sleep. I don't have access to an item shop that gives me sleep stuff, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, because there's, like, real hard to get around this map. And go back to towns to just check to see, hey, is there a shop that sells sleepy stuff? Anywhere? Anyone? Please? Sleepy time? Pretty please? Pretty please? Anyway. That's just where I'm at with this game. It's just like, I'm hitting a wall. Like, it's just been, like, lots of road bumps, and then I'm also hitting a wall on top of it right now. And it's really hard to be excited about a game where you're just stuck. We're gonna keep trying. It's like, again, I can see, like, there's seeds of something interesting here. I'm nowhere near that point, I feel like. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just around the corner. Maybe I just have to get through Helena Prison again, and then things will be cool. But like, as is, I can't help but run the math in my head. It is like 30 experience per fight in this zone that is roughly, like, supposedly along the level that I should be. I can't do overworld fights because there's just like a random death robot that's just going to kill me every once in a while and just kill one character because why would you put that so early in a game? Like, that is just a bad choice. That is just a really... That's not great. It's not great, guys. just it's very much a hey don't sort of option. But it's there, and it's a problem, and that makes it to where I can't just grind in the overworld, so I need to go into one of these dungeons to grind, and if I go into a dungeon, I also have to be able to get out of the dungeon or to one of the healing shrine things. Pools of water, what does healing? And if that flask that they gave me, like, turned into, hey, it's 39. It's a whole 39 experience. It's less than 100. At less than 100 combats to level. Great. Perfect. Wow. Phenomenal. So good. It's... But anyway, we're going to round up to 100 because that's just like the convenient number. It takes 100 combats to level up. That is a lot. That is really stupid. And again, I'm pretty sure I'm like where I'm supposed to be roughly for grinding. Maybe I should be in Helena Prison. Maybe I get way more experience there. I would have to go double check previous episode. And I think I might, between episodes, is see how much experience I was getting from fights in... Well, like, it's the footage of what did not show because, you know, there was no audio in that footage. But I should go back and check that footage to see how much experience I was getting from, like, the random fights in Helena to see if it is drastically more than what I'm getting out here Dragon Nest area. And at least out here, though, I do have a healing pool to go to. Oh... I don't know, man. This game... I need to grind so much. And, like, I think next time is just going to be like, hey, what if I backtrack through the volcano, back all the way to the front entry to the place that led into the volcano, and at that point, see if I can go to this other town and see if there's anything there that I missed that is of vital importance, or just, like, at the very least, I don't know, an end, and see how much experience I get while I'm in the volcano. I guess that's the plan for next time is, hey, what if we backtrack? Ugh. It's way too early in the game for backtracking. Just way too early. Oh, that feels bad. That feels real bad. I'm sorry. Again, like, I'm trying not to be mad at this game. I'm trying not to have salt, but, like, they made some choices here, and I don't agree with them, is all it comes down to. And I'm going to push through, and I'm determined to use Shauna as much as I can, because screw you, game, that's why. Anyway, I am very curious to see how this footage ends up looking, because this is, again, the first run with this VCR, so, well, hey, fun times. Let's see how things look, and see how things sound with the switch to stereo, because, RCA stereo. All 3 wires, and not just the yellow and white ones. Wahoo! Oh. Anyway, again, I said it in the VCR breaks episode, but video, whatever thing. But I really do appreciate anybody that hangs out on these dumb hobbies of mine. We'll try to stick with this. We've got spooky stuff coming up in October, and I need to get on that because September is quickly running away. So well, hey, we'll see. I need to test things and see if I can use a light gun with this whole dumb setup. And by the way, PS2 light guns, they require hooking up as like an in-between for the RCA video inputs. They actually require, like, there's just like a little, like, a wire that hooks into the video input of whatever you're using, and then you hook out the video output from the console into the back of that little dongle. So in short, even more jank. We'll see what happens. Hopefully plans will come to fruition and we can have a fun spooky times in October. Again, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Bryce. This has been VHS Play. Have yourself a lovely evening.